Welcome, everybody. Why don't you come in and sit down a while? Because this is UMass Sports Weekly, your number one source for all things UMass sports. I'm your dashing host, Tommy Calautti, and let's get right down to business. First, the football team ended their losing streak and provided us fans with some light at the end of the tunnel. After that, Tim Dennehy comes in to recap the men's soccer team's A10 tournament run. Alana Alonji will update us on the UMass hockey team and their 2 Hockey East battles this weekend. Allie Furlow gives you the status of the field hockey team's tournament run. And Phil Sanza will end the show talking about the men's and women's basketball team. The kitchen's filled with orders, so let's fire up the grill, preheat the oven, and get that roast ready to be cooked. Because this is UMass Sports Weekly.
This is UMass Sports Weekly.
Welcome back. The UMass Minutemen won this weekend. Can you believe it? They won and ended their seemingly eternal losing streak against MAC-10 opponents. Jamal Wilson and Marquise Young led the charge as the Minutemen grounded and pounded their way past Eastern Michigan 28-17. I'm here with our football analyst, Xander Manning. So, Xander, it's been a tough go of it so far. For once, the Minutemen did something right this game. What did they do right and able to beat Eastern Michigan?
I mean, they, like you said, Tommy, they just ran the ball a lot. They did what they needed to do in this game. They ran the ball a lot. They really exercised this duo of Marquise Young and Jamal Wilson. They did their job. They ran for 330 yards in this game. Huge attack for the Minutemen. I mean, and then their defense. Their defense was just unbelievable in this game. Yet, I mean, I'll give it to them. Eastern Michigan had more passing yards, but still the Minutemen outlasted them offensively. The defense sacked the quarterback, got to them, pressured them, and they just grinded out a win this weekend. They really did their job, did what they needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, if we can take a look at those numbers for the running attack, I mean, Jamal Wilson and Marquise Young were both great. Both of them had touchdowns. Both of them had long runs over 20 yards. I mean, the statistics were perfect, and you add in some of the other running backs, the team totaled over 300 yards, which is great. Now, Xander, I want to lead you into next week at Miami. I believe it's the last game at McGurk. I could be wrong.
Yep.
What do we need to do to win this game? And do you think, we thought there was momentum after FIU, and there wasn't. It just wasn't there. Do you think we can ride the wave into McGurk, into Miami, and win this game?
I think we've got some momentum coming into this game. I mean, for multiple reasons. First of all, after the FIU game, we had to go right back, and we had to go play Notre Dame. I mean, that's a tough opponent to play right after you've won your first game of the season. But now they're playing a Miami team that's just about even with them. Like, they're going into the Eastern Michigan game, the Minutemen are 1-8. Eastern Michigan was 1-9. In this game, Minutemen are 2-8. Miami's 2-9. It's a pretty evenly matched game. I feel like this team can play well if they're playing evenly matched teams, but if it's a tougher opponent, I mean, it's a tougher schedule. It's a tougher game, obviously, but I think they've got some momentum. I think they can carry it into this game pretty easily.
Now, Xander, we talked a little behind the scenes about Scott Van Pelt Sports Center. They do a segment called Bad Beats when Scott Van Pelt talks about the over-under on lines.
Yep.
Now, you've been talking about it lately. In this game, UMass is favored by 10 points. You taking the over, you taking the under, and why?
I'm not going to take the 10 points, but I'm going to take the over. I'm going to say that maybe they win this game by a total of about 6, maybe 3. It's going to be a close game this weekend. I mean, this is the 5th week in a row they've been favored to win, or the line's been even. So far, it hasn't really translated into too much. It did last weekend, but they're favored by 10 this weekend. That's a sizable advantage, and it might be a little bit more, but I still think I'm going to take the over in this game, Tommy.
Now, Xander, lastly, we go into Miami. It's not the Miami Hurricanes, so
No.
we dodge a bullet.
Yeah.
We dodge a bullet there, but still, Miami, really good chance to win. Last game at McGurk, last chance to put on a show in front of these fans. What's the game plan? What's Coach Whipple telling the guys?
Well, it's senior weekend here this weekend, so he's going to be playing a lot of the seniors. But you're going to have guys like Tajay Sharp, Jovan Santos Knox. Those guys are going to want to play their hearts out. They're going to want to win this game more than anything in the world. And I think they've got a shot to win this game. They've just got to play their defense. They've got to play their offense. They got to do their job. And if they do their job, they've got a good shot at winning this game. And I think they can do their job. They've got their motivation. They've got their momentum. And they got the numbers on their side.
Well, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this Minutemen team is finally on the upswing, and hopefully they can get a win on senior weekend. Thank you very much, Xander. Before we leave the football segment, we want to talk a little bit about Tajay Sharp, who was just nominated as a finalist for the Biletnikoff Award, which is the top receiver in the FBS. Tajay Sharp is number 1 in receptions in the FBS with 99, and he leads the league in receptions per game with 9.9. Take a look at this graphic we have. I mean, Tajay Sharp's been great all year for this team, and he's been one of the bright points. We wish him all the best of luck, and he's definitely got our vote. Now, don't touch that dial, because when we come right back, we're going to talk some Minuteman hockey. Stay tuned. It was a penalty kick that put the nail in the Minutemen's coffin this weekend as they took on Fordham in the men's A10 soccer tournament. First round game, the Minutemen could not overcome that penalty kick, and the final score was 1-0, effectively ending the Minutemen's season. Now, I'm here with Tim Dennehy. Tim, give us some insight on this game. I mean, I talked about the penalty kick, 1-0 loss. Yep. What happened?
I mean, tough game. Tough game for the Minutemen. It was just like their last matchup with Fordham, that this was a rematch. And the ball didn't swing in their favor. I mean, they made it 80 minutes in a 0-0 game. 80 in the playoffs in the first round, 80 minutes. That is rough.
That's more than an hour.
That is more than an hour. That is 20 minutes more than an hour. And for that 20 minutes, I mean, those guys must have been going through some like HE double hockey sticks. I don't know if I can say that word on here, but it was this team. They tried to get down and dirty. They really what I tried to say. They tried to get the fouls going. They couldn't. They did, but Fordham, they stayed disciplined. I mean, UMass out-fouled 12-5. Fordham did not give in to UMass's not dirty play, but physical play. Aggressive play. Absolutely, you need that in soccer. So very rough game. Like I said, the ball didn't bounce in their favor like it did in their last game where they won in overtime. I mean, it took a penalty kick. I mean, that's like I said, that's a real rough way to end this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rough way to go anytime on a penalty kick, and I think the only way it would have been worse is if it went to PKs.
Yeah.
The only way the loss could have stung a little bit more. But yeah. Tim, we do this at the end of every sports year, or every sports season. Soccer team, I want you to talk about some of the seniors and how losing them is going to affect the team.
Yeah. We have UMass has 5 seniors that are going to be partying, that we're going to be partying away from. We have Danny Belza and Jake Alvaro, 2 midfielders, very strong midfielders, very strong teammates as well. I mean, they're very good on the field as well as off the field. Great guys. We have Leonard Siri, who is a spark plug up for UMass forward. I mean, he has been phenomenal this past years. He had 2 years of junior college. He has been great last year, great this year. Didn't have that many goals. He only has 2 goals in his career. However, I mean, you can't really judge what he does for this team based on statistics because he flies out there. You can't see him. And then our two biggest losses that we're gonna have to suffer is one, Mark Morris, Captain Mark Morris. He's been great. He's been absolutely phenomenal. He scored a total of 10 goals in his Minuteman career, 1 assist, and I mean, like, you can't really, even that, like, that's a great stat, but you can't judge Mark Morris on that statistic alone because he is so much more than that, too. He's a leader. He was a great leader on this team. He was a guy that a lot of these young players could look up to. It's going to be tough having him leave. And the last one that's going to be a real sting to the heart is Will Ellis. Will Ellis, he did not score that much. He did not have that much statistics. However, he was very, very solid in the midfield, and he had a big defensive presence in the middle of the field, which is what you look for. You look for some people on offense, look for some people defense. Comparatively to the United States team, I'd say he's like a Jermaine Jones type, where he plays defensive mid, and he really can, make things happen out there. This was a great class, and it's going to be tough losing them, but, I mean, this Minutemen, they show that they're resilient, and I think that they're going to move on fine.
Yeah, I think resilience was definitely the theme this year. I mean, you go down 1-9 at the beginning of the season. Most teams just fold at that point, but it seems like this team really hit their stride in the A10.
Yep.
Now, Tim, you lose 5 seniors. There's obviously your recruiting. You look for some sparks from that, and then you look for some guys to step up. Are things looking up for 2017, and what should we expect from this team next year?
Absolutely, things are looking up. I mean, this team has has looked better than 10 years at least. I mean, UMass was a powerhouse back in the day with Sam Koch as coach. And this year, Fran O'Leary, this was his first year as coach. He set his values and he set what he needed to do. He set, his ground. Now we can build on that. I mean, like I said, he started 1-9. However, he turned it around, which really shows the resilience of this team, like we were just talking about. And next year should be no different. We have George Picar coming back, who has played phenomenal in net since the start of A10 play. And in defense, we have Matt Pease, straight out of Needham High School, and like I've talked about him many times on this show. He's going to be great. He's really going to lock it down there on defense. And up top, we have Sam Asamoah, who is a freshman this year, right down the street from Springfield. He is going to do very, very big things for UMass soccer. You're going to hear that name a lot the next 3 years. If he stays, please stay. And on that, we got Tygon Calvez. He's been playing in the middle. He's a junior. He's going to be a senior next year. I think you're going to hear Tygon Calvez and Sam Asamoah. I think you're going to hear their names together a lot in the next coming year. I mean, Tygon Calvez can set him up, and Sam Asamoah, he has the legs and he has the ability to finish. So I'm very much looking forward to covering this team in 2017, I can tell you that.
Well, you heard it here. Goncalves and Asamoah. Look for those two to link up next year. We got George Bacara coming back, Matt Pease. So it looks like there's a point at every point in the soccer field where the Minutemen are strong. You got a goaltender, a defender, a midfielder, and a striker. So
Absolutely.
Looks like things are looking up for next year, and we wish the team the best. Congratulate them on a great year making the A10 tournament. Now, moving off of this, we're going to talk about some Minutewomen field hockey. Don't move. The field hockey Minutewomen played a riveting NCAA playing game against Kent State on Veterans Day at Gladchuck Memorial Sporting Complex. The ladies went on to beat Kent State and went into a David and Goliath matchup against #1 Syracuse in the NCAA tournament. Here with Allie Furlow, who was there at the Kent State game and helped us with our coverage of the Syracuse game. Allie, I want to talk first of all. I know I did a little foreshadowing, but we beat Kent State. It was a cold, rainy day. You were there the entire time. Mm-hmm. What was that game like? What happened?
So, as you said, it was cold and rainy, but it was a really big turnout. They actually put up a press box just for that game, which I thought was very interesting. So anyway, into the game, there was only one goal scored by the Minutewomen in the 23rd minute by Izzy Delario, and it was off of a penalty corner. It was a rebound off of it. It was an even matchup. Both of the teams were 11-8, so it was a pretty on and off game going up and down the field between the teams. UMass did outshoot the Golden Flashes 14-8, and UMass had 4 offensive corners in the first half. So they did a really good job, and I was really proud of them for making it to the NCAA tournament.
So after that, Allie, the Minutewomen kind of had a date with, I mean, I don't want to call it destiny, but Syracuse, the #1 team at 17-1. That was their playing game. They traveled to Syracuse, had to play in Syracuse, I believe, for that NCAA tournament game.
Yep.
Give us a breakdown. What happened?
So Syracuse has only lost 1 game their whole entire season. But for a matchup against the #1 team, they did pretty well. They only lost 4-2. The game started off with Syracuse scoring in the 9th minute by forward Emma Russell. And then the Oranges went on to score their 2nd, 3rd, and 4th goal all in the second half in a matter of about 10 minutes. So luckily for the Minutewomen, they did come back in the 59th minute to score their first goal, and then even 10 minutes later, they scored their 2nd goal, but it just wasn't good enough and unfortunately ended the season for the Minutewomen.
I mean, Syracuse is a tall task for anybody in NCAA field hockey, so it's tough that the Minutewomen had to draw them, but, you know, victim of circumstance, I guess. Now, Allie, we just did it with Tim. I mean, end of the year segment. Who do you think was the MVP of this team? And if I'm correct on who I think you're going to pick, who is the person we're going to miss most?
Sam Carlino, she is the senior goaltender. During her 4 years, she had a .731 save percentage, and she had 56 wins. She had 389 saves in her career, and this year she had the most saves with 104 total saves on net.
Well, thank you very much, Allie. I mean, this team's looking up. It's going to be tough to replace Sam Carlino, but you have Melanie Kirsch in the backfield. You have Sarah Hawkshaw and Nicole Miller in the middle. Izzy Delario is great on penalty corners. So, you know, they can replace Sam Carlino, which won't be an easy task. I think we have a lot to look forward to. Thank you very much. We'll be right back, and Phil Sanzo is going to talk to you about the Minutemen basketball team's opening game. Welcome back. The Minutemen basketball team opened their season with an 85-79 victory over Howard University this weekend at the Moen Center. Both Trey Davis and Jabari Hines had 19 points apiece, and they led a strong Minutemen fourth quarter charge that propelled the boys to victory. I'm here with Phil Sanzo. Now, Phil, what did we see against Howard this weekend that's for us to note?
Well, we figured out some of the parts of the puzzle that we talked about in the previous show. Who are going to be these go-to guys? Trey Davis, Jabari Hines, strongly proved that they could be those people. 19 points each in the game. At one point, though, UMass was down 14 points. There was a 14-point differential. They were able to overcome that. 12 of Davis's 19 points came the last 3.5 minutes. So we saw what clutch performer Davis could be. He's been showing us that all throughout his career, and maybe even more so this year, being the leader on this team. Kyle Lane's gone. You got Axie Esho gone. Looks like Trey Davis is going to become that guy that takes advantage of that open role. So yeah, we definitely saw that. We saw some parts of the puzzle being filled, like I said. Dante Clark definitely had a good impact on the game. Had a good rookie season last year, and he's coming in big. He might come in big this year, play a lot of minutes, but. It was a good effort. Very nice that they won the first game. It's kind of got iffy when they went down 14 points, but to come back from that, was a nice omen heading into the beginning of the season.
I mean, Derek Kellogg showed why he's making
Yeah.
as much as he does
Absolutely.
to rally the troops after that 14-point deficit.
Yeah.
Now, Phil, before we get into conference play, you have the non-conference schedule.
Absolutely.
2 years ago, the Minutemen rammed through it, went undefeated for most of the season. Last year, not so much.
No.
So, I mean, we got two different samples to look at. Which one are we going to expect to be more similar to?
Definitely not going to be as good as they should be. It's not going to be a very pleasant. I don't think it will be a very pleasant non-conference play. The teams they're playing are really good. LIU, Brooklyn, they got Providence. They got some really good teams that you constantly see in the A10 in the NCAA tournament. So, and this Minutemen team is not like they had 2 years ago. This Minutemen team is far removed from that. A bunch of unnamed guys that were on the bench a lot last year or not even on the team. So you have this compile of misfits. Now, I wouldn't say misfits, but almost in the sense that they're not the starters that we're used to having here in Amherst. So I don't see them going crazy and defeating all these teams. What I do expect to see is to figure out part of their identity, like I talked about last show. I think it was really important that before they get into conference play, they figure out who they are as a team. Because conference play is when it really starts to matter. That's going to determine where they're going to be in the A10 tournament. That's going to determine how far they can get this season. I think it's very important that in these next games throughout the next month and a half, that they really figure out A, who they are, B, who's going to play where. That was a big part. That number 5 guy in the team was split up amongst a few people. Seth Berger, C.J. Anderson. Seth Berger had 25 minutes. C.J. Anderson had 20. Who's going to make up that last spot? Is it going to be rotating the whole time? It could be that. We could see it like it was last year. That was the case last year often. There was no distinctive 5th guy last year. It was a rotation of people. Hopefully we could see, actually, who knows how it's going to turn out this year. Hopefully they can fill a guy in the role. If not, hopefully a platoon will work. So that's what we're going to have to find out these next month and a half.
All right, Phil, so we got to learn in non-conference play who this team is, who's going to fill that 5th spot, and who's going to step up and be a star this year. Now, we got your important takeaways from non-conference play. I mean, give us a few predictions. I mean, you said it's looking grim, but if these boys step up, what are some of the things they can do to be successful in non-conference play?
Well, we're going to see a really big sign of that tonight against Harvard. Harvard gave us a hard time last year. We lost them. Statistically, over the years, the men and women have been better than Harvard, but recently has not been the case. Harvard has really stepped it up as of late. You see them in the tournament a lot. If I don't really see, like I said, I don't see this team doing too well in non-conference play, but I see them figuring things out. I see them figuring out. I definitely see Trey Davis stepping it up to the next level. I think he's become more consistent. He's another year older now. He's going to take on his team. He's going to lead it. Him and Jabari Hines also, those two guys could be the top people, are going to be the top people on this team. I fully believe that. Dante Clark's another one we're going to have to look at. I think Dante Clark, who's had a tremendous freshman year last year, one of the best that the Minutemen have had in recent years. Dante Clark's going to be a big role. It's very nice to see him grow up as a basketball player, because he's going to be a part of these future teams that everyone's talking about. A lot of people consider this year a bridge year. We got a lot of these future teams coming up that could make a really big splash in the nation. But really, for this year, it's going to be important to develop those guys and see how far they could take it. This might be a team where it's scrappy. They're going to scrape their way by to, I don't know, maybe a 20-12 record, something along those lines. Scrape their way by throughout the whole season. Maybe they'll finish at 500 or a little below in non-conference play, but I think they have the ability to get to that next level. Get through all the other teams.
Well, Phil, scrappy isn't necessarily bad. I mean, we see
No,
the
absolutely
Memphis Grizzlies, the Toronto Raptors. NBA teams build reputations on being scrappy,
Absolutely.
and if this team can build a reputation on that, then all the power to them.
We've seen it in playing UMass teams so far this year. The
Yeah.
men's soccer team and women's soccer team are perfect
Scrappy.
examples. Teams that really shouldn't be where they finished.
Now, we tried something new with our social
Yes,
media
yes,
people.
we did.
tried a Twitter poll. So Phil and all the other social media guys, that'd be Tim, they asked the question, what do fans expect from the Minutemen basketball team this year? And if we look at the results on that poll, Phil, what did it tell us?
Basically told us fans thought what we thought. They're not gonna finish as good this year as they did last year. I believe it was 57% that I believe that the 30 people that voted. Highly suggest we plan on doing more of these polls. Definitely think you guys should get into it. We would love the support, love to hear what you fans have to say. Give us some comments on it also, because definitely like to hear what everyone following UMass Sports can say about it.
I mean, we definitely want to hear from you guys. Always tweet at us. It's UMass Sports
Absolutely.
Weekly, like I say at the end of every show, because I know you guys stick around for that. But yeah, that's all we have for basketball this week. Thank you very much,
Yeah, no
Phil.
problem, Tommy.
Next week we'll give you the updates on that Harvard game, but go UMass. After this, Allie Furlow's going to come on to talk about the women's basketball opener. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the studio. The Minutewomen basketball team also started their season this weekend, taking on Holy Cross. The Minutewomen trumped them by 14 points, winning 74-60 in an impressive showing. I'm here with Allie Furlow. So Allie, like we always do, I want you to give me a breakdown what happened in this game against Holy Cross.
Well, for the Minutewomen, this game was very tough, and the two teams traded off the leading role until the beginning of the fourth quarter. UMass goes for 13-2 run and hits 6 of their 9 shots the first time, and they also held Holy Cross to just 1 for 9 in shooting. And in the end, it just came out as a win for the Minutewomen, and they did a really great job.
Now, Allie, I know last year the Minutewomen had Kim Pierre-Louis as their leading scorer. She graduated, and I know it's going to be tough to replace her scoring, but I think in that game we saw a lot of underclassmen step up. Who were those underclassmen, and how do you think the underclassmen are going to be able to support this team going forward?
Well, right now, 2 underclassmen are leading the team with points. Sierra Dillard is leading the team with 21 points, and right behind her is Bria Stallworth, who's a freshman with 19 points. So this is pretty much a good sign that the young people on the team are really going to bring a lot to the table. I don't want to just let the underclassmen have the spotlight. Senior Rashida Timbala had 14 rebounds and 5 assists in the game against Holy Cross on Sunday. So they were all really good.
Well, you got point scorers, you got people who can rebound. I mean, Pat Summitt said rebounding wins dynasties, I believe. Yeah, scoring, defense wins championships, rebounding wins dynasties. So that's Pat Summitt. She knows her stuff. Now, Allie, we need an outlook on this season. I mean, the Minutewomen have gotten progressively better. They started off with like 3 wins a couple years ago, up to 5 or 7 last year. I mean, if the trajectory continues, if my science is correct, they're going to keep heading upwards. So what can we expect from this team for this year?
Well, from right now, it's really hard to tell how the Minutewomen are going to do in their conference. But with the young talent that they have, it seems like they're really going to come out on top. And we can see in their next matchup, they're going to take on Harvard tomorrow as they travel to Cambridge. So we will be able to see how the Minutewomen actually do in that type of matchup. It should be something that really shows their true colors.
Well, thank you very much, Allie. I mean, again, you guys should go out, support the Minutewomen basketball team. Like I said, they're a team that's up and coming and a team that has the potential to be great. Unfortunately, that'll do it for us here at UMass Sports Weekly. Like I say every week, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, Snapchat, use Periscope because I always say it. We had that Twitter thing with Phil. That was really good. I mean, social media is great, and you guys should follow us on it. We'll be right back here, same time, same place, UVC TV, Channel 19. Have a good week, UMass.